From the driver's seat, we have a nice view here. You can see all of your controls, your dash here in the center, all your buttons and switches. I'm gonna work left to right here, kind of go over some of the features. Left side is very easy, just a headlight switch, on, low beam, high beam. Up here we have a turn knob, and this is two-wheel drive, four-wheel drive. Push in and turn, that's four-wheel drive diff lock, so the front end actually locks. And I don't know if you can see it here, but when you change stuff here, it'll actually show you on the dash what's going on. Next over here, we have the actual start button, the key, which is just a fob. Pull that out. Back in. Then we have our gear selection here. I don't know if you've ever been in other brands of side-by-side when they actually have a lever here. This frees up a lot of space, and also when you are, let's say you're on a hillside and you want to shift into park. With this, you just push the park button, it shifts into park, and then, actually I can show you here. Let's say we were in low gear and shifted into park. Well, now when you want to come out of gear, all you have to do is the reverse of that. Hit the gas pedal. As soon as you hit the gas pedal while this thing's running, the parking brake will come off and it's ready to roll. So it'll never put that transmission in a bind, so it's really simple to use. You can put a lot of different operators in it and they're not gonna have trouble figuring out how to use that. So then over here a little bit further, this is where we get a lot of questions. There's a lot of tech in this unit. So this is your screen here. And what I'm gonna do is, if you ever have this pop up on your machine and you want just a basic screen, you don't want to connect to anything, just press and hold here. And that'll just change this to like your most basic screen. You've got miles per hour, gear selection, all of the different things you'd expect on a ATV power sport screen. Well, if we want to get into anything further than that, you can go ahead and turn it on. Immediately it's going to want to connect to the maps, and actually going to connect to the internet to connect it to the maps. And if you want to do that, great. If you're close to your house, you can connect it to Wi-Fi. If not, just hit close. It's going to try to load this map here because since it's not connected, it's not connected to the Wi-Fi. It's not going to connect to the maps. Go ahead, pull down on the top. Now we get into all of the nuts and bolts of this. If we want to listen to the radio, that's going to be under here, under media. Pop it in there. You can listen to AM, FM radio, connect to Bluetooth. If you were connected, you could go in there and play your music through there. Otherwise, if we actually wanted to connect a phone to this, you're going to do that over here in settings. In here, you can connect your Bluetooth. If you want to connect phone, if you have an Apple, you can do Apple CarPlay and it'll connect through that. Nice and easy there. A couple cool features that you'll find that maybe not everyone knows about is you can actually set a speed limit in here. So if you have, let's say, some of you don't trust driving it, or maybe you have employees on a job site, you can go in there, set a 4-digit PIN, and that will look like this. It'll ask for it twice. Once you enter it the second time, then you have options. You can either set it at 25 miles per hour or 37 miles per hour as a max speed. And then they can't go over that. And without your PIN, they can't change that back. If you ever forget the PIN, there is a way that you can reset it. We can go over that if that ever came up. Otherwise, it's there. So kind of a cool feature there. You can pull this down. There's quite a bit going on in here. I won't cover everything because you can play with it. But if you have any questions, just put them in the comments. I'll be happy to answer anything I can. Got that. So down here we have a couple more controls. This is pretty simple, just changes your station or the song that you may be playing. This one is turf lock. So you can lock and unlock the rear differential by just pressing this in. You can see that actually changes it. So that's the rear differential. The one over here, that was front diff. This is rear diff. So that locks it, unlocks it. Most of the time you're gonna have it unlocked because that's gonna be best for not tearing stuff up. But if you ever need the traction, you maybe lock that in, and so you have that additional traction. Here we have a mode switch. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna actually take this screen, I'm gonna shut it off. And now we're back to our basic one. So you can see here we're in normal mode. If you hit this mode switch, it's going to change it to work. Changes the screen just a little bit there, and it changes the way this thing drives. I'll be honest, I haven't seen a ton of difference. I do notice a little bit. If you're cruising, let's say 40, 50 miles an hour, this thing, hit that switch, you'll feel a little bit of power difference. Work mode, I would say, is almost a little bit quieter. It almost changes the way your input is from your throttle. So you notice just a little bit, but it's not like huge. On some of the older models and different brands I've driven, it makes a bigger difference. On this thing, it's not that big of a difference. Right here, this is kind of a cool feature. So this little button right here is, and I'll show you on here, it's going to come on, the little green one, that is downhill assist. So what that's doing is actually enabling like a downhill assist, like engine brake. So when you're coasting or coming down a hill, if you have that off, it will actually freewheel after it gets down to a certain miles per hour, maybe 3 to 5. It kicks out and it will just coast. Well, if you have that turned on, then this is going to come down to about 3 to 5 where it would normally kick out, and it will actually keep your engine brake or your engine speed up just a little bit to keep it braking. And it's cool. It actually has like a gyroscope in there that it can tell when it's going down a hill. And there's actually a setting in here. I won't get into it, but you can go in here and you can actually look while you're driving under the G-Force one. I'll just turn it on. I'm here anyway. If you were driving and you turn, you can actually see what's going on here. So it's kind of a cool feature. Not that everyone needs that, but sort of neat. Moving on, over here we have the parking brake switch. That one, you're not going to use that unless you're like broken down somewhere and you need to roll it. It's not working for some reason, because it's pretty much automatic. When you take it out of gear or out of park into gear and you hit your gas pedal, the parking brake comes off automatically. When you shift it into park, the parking brake then sets automatically. So you'll almost never actually use that unless you need it to roll it. And in that case, you would have your foot on the brake, put it in neutral, and then come over here and hit the off button. I don't know if you could hear that, but in the background there were some noises. That's the parking brake disengaging. So kind of a cool feature there. We have our dump bed here. Pretty nice. I'll just dump like that. Oh, my box isn't secure, but you can see what it's doing. Then we have our winch in and out. This button over here, this button right there, that thing is probably the most pointless button we have on this entire unit. I don't know why they have it. It's kind of ridiculous. So as you know, this thing has Apple CarPlay. You can also connect to Bluetooth. So if you got a phone call while you're driving, you can answer the call through the audio system in this machine, but it doesn't allow you to actually talk to them. There's no microphone up here like you would find on a car. So there's absolutely no microphone. The only reason that button is there is if you happen to be wearing, let's say, a helmet with Bluetooth, or you had AirPods or something in your ear that you could talk through, then you could press this button in and they could hear you. They should have just put the microphone in there rather than the switch. I don't know what would have cost them more, but it's kind of a ridiculous little piece that they have. Not a huge fan of it, but it's there. So that kind of covers the switches and the technology in this. It seems like a lot to some, and if you're used to some of the newer vehicles, it's actually not that much. Definitely, if you have any questions, just let me know. I'm happy to answer any that I can for you. I've spent some time in this unit, actually driving around a lot, and I've gotten to know it fairly well. So if you have any questions, please let me know.